All right, we are live back on the Andre Duke Show. Carter, how we doing?
Good, man. Doing great. It's a wonderful Friday night. Just ran around all day, did some work, and then got my kids, had to do some yard work, got them fed, got them bathed, got them all ready, and now I'm ready to relax, watch a little Friday night football. Hopefully when my kids are a little older, I'll be able to go to high school football games because I'd much rather do that than watch whatever they put out on Friday nights. Because I don't know about you, man, but I'm not a huge fan of this Friday night football stuff.
Yeah, the Friday night football, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a huge fan of, especially college football. I would rather I'm all right with the MACtion and when the Sun Belt does it because that's a night that nobody plays on.
Yeah.
And judging by the title of our show, I think that it's good to showcase those programs and facilities of what the other schools have to offer because when you have 150 games playing on Saturday, it's hard to
and I mean, and you think about it, like those schools, they have passionate fan bases, but they're not large fan bases. So like if I graduated, let's say, from a Bowling Green or something like that, if Bowling Green's playing on Friday night and my local high school team's playing on Friday night, am I really that upset if I miss one Bowling Green game, or if I don't go, I can watch one, which is nice. But when you start throwing in big boys like Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, and like the Big Ten's big about Friday night right now, it's like, man, and I don't think Ohio State's played one yet. They will eventually, I promise you. I don't care what anybody tells you. They will. The money's there. But you're talking about one of the largest fan bases in America and passionate fans, and asking them to miss an Ohio State game to Dublin Kaufman and watch them play. I don't know who they play tonight, but let's say it's Hilliard Davidson or whatever. Like, they're just, if your son or daughter is like a cheerleader or on the team, like, yeah, you'll go to the game because like that's your kid. But like me, I don't have any kids in high school, so if I'm going to a Kaufman game, it's just because I love high school football and I want to watch my alma mater, Kaufman, play. And if Ohio State's playing that night, it's really hard for me to choose Kaufman over Ohio State at that point, or Notre Dame, or whoever it is. And I just don't like what it's doing to high school football. Like, high school football is such a cornerstone of football in America, and it's so underappreciated. People don't understand what it actually is and what it actually, I mean, everybody that's played in the NFL played high school football. That's just a fact. Everybody who's played in college played high school football. That's a fact. And it's taking away from those local, just great environments.
And like I always say, I believe the lights burn brighter on Friday night. And Carter, there was another topic that's not on the show notes that
I love when you go off script. It's great.
Yeah. You put all the time into the notes, going off script. I don't know how familiar you are with the situation, but I am a parent. You are a parent.
Yes.
San Jose State volleyball.
Okay.
Boise State and Utah Tech and I believe Wyoming all have taken a stand not to play San Jose State in volleyball. I don't know if you're familiar with this situation.
Is it men's or women's?
It's women's.
Is it because San Jose State is allowing a biological male to play?
Yes.
Then good for everybody that's taking a stand against it.
I know. My son. Oh,
sorry. Hold on one second.
You're good. But.
I want to be down here.
Okay.
But.
All right.
Why?
But before we get rolling,
yep, sorry.
You're all good. You're
so cold.
You're a parent of girls, and it's really, really disheartening on what's going on with the NCAA. It started with the Leah Thomas thing, and it seems like when you give them an inch, they take a foot. Not trying to get too specific here before so we don't get canceled, but for people that are not taking a stand against this, if they don't like what I have to say on this, you don't have to watch this show. But I believe this is a right or wrong issue that we have going on in this country, and the people need to take a stand, essentially, because whenever you are not taking a stand on this particular issue, it's got to start at every level possible, to where people need to start pulling their kids off the field, in my opinion. And I just don't know what goes through the parents of the other child's mind, thinking this is okay, because there was a story where a high school girl was paralyzed in a volleyball match from one of these people playing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see the chaos that is my life. I have 3 kids, 2 of which are daughters. I would be absolutely livid and beside myself if this was a situation I was placed in as a father. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are as to gender identity, anything like that. I get it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I honestly, what you want to do with yourself and outside of the realm of other people, it's fine. Go be whatever you want to be. Cool with that. But when you bring it into competition and athletics, that if there's a men's and a women's league in certain sports for a reason. And when you talk about biology, it doesn't matter what you believe as far as gender identity and everything like that. Biologically, there are differences. And if my daughter, like, God, I wish I could remember the swimmer that went up against Leah Thomas, but she was
Riley Gaines.
Yeah, Riley Gaines, one of the top women swimmers in all of America, has worked her whole life to get to the point of the Olympics and NCAA championships and all this. And then you have this biological male who has swam as a male his whole life, transition to female swimming, and was like something like the 100-some ranked male, and all of a sudden is dominating female swimming. And Riley Gaines has to go up against this person, and it's not physically fair to her, and it discounts everything she's done for her entire career, and it takes away everything they work for. And I don't care about your political beliefs. I don't care about my political beliefs. Don't matter in this. What I care about is buddy, chill out. As a father, how can I look my daughter in the eye and tell her that if you work hard, if you put in all the effort, all these things that you're going to do to be successful, and then you have somebody that is just physically different? There's not. I'm sorry, the science has proven it. Like there's just a physical difference between men and females. It's just a fact, and they work their life for these opportunities, and then they get taken away or diminished because somebody decides that they're a female. And I don't care if whatever. I don't care if they feel like they're a female or they want to be a female in the grand scheme of things. That's fine. Go be a female, but that doesn't mean you can compete in female athletics.
So with that being said, I just wanted to make a statement on that and and put it out there, because I feel like we have a platform to where we can we can
Yeah.
put something out,
And I want to make sure that we're really clear about it's nothing to do with transgenderism even. It's to do with athletics and what that means.
Yeah, it's because a lot of people will title it as hate speech, and that's something we're not doing. We're just simply stating a fact here that this is not what we're on, as far as agreeing with it. And and as a parent myself, I just believe we should, as parents, and that's just like the Olympic boxer, that Iranian dude made that woman tap out in 45 seconds. It's simple biology.
Yeah, and that one, I feel like that one was weird because there was some weird condition with that person where they had like an extra chromosome or something. I don't remember the whole story, but here's what I'll tell you. As a father of both boys and girls, I would have a real hard time looking my girls in the face and trying to explain to them why it's okay. I would not have a hard time looking my son in the face if he were to become transgender and want to become a female. Be like, hey, listen, I support you in that endeavor, but you cannot compete in women's sports. I'm sorry. You were born different. That's just part of it. I'm sorry it happened. I'm sorry you feel this way, but that's just life. You don't get every opportunity all the time. It's just, that's how things go. And I would have no problem having that conversation with my son. I'd have a real problem having the conversation with my daughter about why she's worked for 17 years to become an Olympian in gymnastics or in swimming or in whatever. And there's a male who's now a female is going to take her spot on that team. That is a conversation I would have a real difficult time having.
But yeah, it's just a interesting, strange world we got rolling out here. And that's just one of the things that stuck out to me. So with that being said, we could get back on course, but I just felt like with us having a platform, we could keep it rolling. So
yeah, little man's gonna join us for a little bit apparently, but his hair's all messed up. But yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that is worth talking about, and I don't want to get too serious or political on the show ever, but in this situation, I think it's warranted. So
yeah,
but jumping into more of what we're talking about, it's a sports show. Not that that's not sports related, but so I don't know if you saw this. Actually, I know you did. You sent it to me. But none other. So the Las Vegas Raiders are in a whole bunch of shit right now. I mean, they are. Devontae Adams wants out because their quarterback situation sucks. And Antonio Pierce got some news today or yesterday or whenever it was.
Yeah, I just find, I don't think the timing's strange.
But there he is. He was a coach at Arizona State when who was it? Herm Edwards
and Jaden Daniels were there.
Yeah, and they were not exactly being kosher about how they were doing things. And he received an 8-year show cause. 8 years. I mean, have you ever heard of an 8-year show cause? Is that the longest one you've heard of?
I think Coach Jeremy Pruitt got 8 years when he did.
Okay. Well, he was the head coach too. Wasn't he?
Yeah.
But,
Herm was the head coach, yes.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Pruitt was the head coach. I feel like eight years for an assistant is kind of – so he must have been doing some stuff. He must have been really in it.
Yeah, they allegedly had him with the McDonald's bags of cash, saying he was the bag man or quote unquote whatever you want to call it. The thing that is now legal that because people want to decriminalize everything now. Why does Jeremy Pruitt still have a show cause? He shouldn't have one because what he was doing is name, image, and likeness. It's pay for play.
Here's what I've said about this all along. And I don't know if you saw this. It's not in the notes, so I'm going to go off script. But Terrell Pryor is suing everybody and their mother. He's suing the NCAA. He's suing Ohio State. He's suing Learfield, the radio group or media group here in Columbus. Oh, yeah. He's suing everybody. And, I mean, good for him. Go ahead. See what you can get out of it. Maybe get some bucks. But my thing it goes back to, and I know Reggie got his Heisman back, and I know there's a bunch of USC fans that'll tell me every reason why Reggie Bush didn't cheat or whatever, because they didn't give him a house, blah, 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 blah. It was an agent through this, whatever.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. I don't care what you say and everything that, the fact is you cheated, all right? And I don't care that Antonio Pierce was handing out bags of cash. That's fine. But you got caught. And guess what? There was no NIL when you were doing it. So you broke the rules, buddy. Stealing signs is okay unless you go advanced scout in person.
Right.
You still broke the rules. It doesn't matter that you just got the signs, which everybody gets the signs, right? I mean, that's not a big deal. It's how you do things. If you break the rules, it doesn't matter. I heard this analogy on the radio today when they were talking about Terrell Pryor, and I thought it was actually one of my least favorite radio shows of all time. But it was actually a decent analogy. Let's say you're driving down a road in your hometown. It's a 35. You're doing, let's say, 45, 50. You get a speeding ticket, right? 5-10 years later, they decide that road is a little more mainstream. They up it to 45. Can you go back and be like, dude, see? I shouldn't have got a speeding ticket because the speed limit's now 45. No, dude, the speed limit was 35 when you broke the law. It doesn't matter that the laws changed later. I'm sorry.
It's one of those deals that, it's how do I want to put this, that it finds it like water finds its level every now and then, and they can't put the toothpaste back in the tube as far as where we're at on that. I get it, it's kind of sour grapes, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. But am I going to like it? No.
And we got this comment right here, and we can talk about. Hold on, we got another comment we got to show after that. But Adams goes to the Jets. This, again, not in the show notes, but we'll talk about it. Do you think that's a real possibility?
I think he goes to the Saints with broke down Derek Carr, but that's just me.
I think he goes to the Ravens.
No, why would you want to go play with Lamar? Lamar can't throw the ball on time, dog.
He can't throw it. Lamar, man. Can't throw it. He tweeted out something today about hey, Ravens, come get me. I mean, that's not what it said, but you know what I'm saying? Now, you know what? I'm calling it now. Devontae to the Browns. Let's go. Browns Super Bowl. Here we go. No. Well, but I think the Jets make sense. I think the Saints, I get it. And Derek Carr looked great weeks 1 and 2. I don't know what you're talking about. Looked probably better than Aaron Rodgers.
Nah, although I will say Aaron Rodgers has a bum wheel. He probably should have maybe showed up to training camp because, we missed all that time last year.
Bro, he had a Met Gala to go to. Training camp.
Well, he missed OTAs because he wanted to go ride camels in Egypt, but what do I know?
Dude, have you ever ridden a camel in Egypt? It's pretty awesome.
Hard pass for me, and then
there you go. I feel like this is directed at you. I don't know for sure, but I can say that's a hard no for me. I have never done that. I've never rolled up a large pizza and eaten it like a taquito. No. Duke, have you?
Well, Carter, there's a certain technique that goes into this. Okay, I'm not going to get into particulars now. Where desperate times call for desperate measures,
But did
and
you order a large pizza and they forgot to cut it, and you were like, "Well, what am I gonna do?"
I ordered a large pizza and told them not to cut it. So can't be given all the industry secrets away. There are some things that after a couple sody pops, sometimes some things creep up and think like they're good ideas. So
well, that's funny. I will say I haven't done that, but I did have a friend of mine that lived with me for a couple weeks or maybe 2 months or so when I was in college because he needed a place to stay, and he partook in the devil's lettuce, let's say, right?
Yes.
And so he had this brilliant idea one night to order a large cheese pizza and then an order of General Tso's chicken. And he put the General Tso's chicken on the cheese pizza, sprinkled some more stuff on top, and, heated it up for a couple minutes just to melt everything, get it all kosher. And he created a General Tso's pizza. I, at the time, did not partake in the devil's lettuce. To me, it was very overwhelming, just like a lot. But man, he loved it.
Was it one of those that like you were in college and it's like, well, I really can't phone home. Mom ain't making mashed potatoes or meatloaf now, so it's.
Yeah, we were definitely in college, and I feel like his idea was on point. Like I feel like if a pizza shop made like a General Tso's pizza, it'd probably be okay because like the sauce wouldn't be pizza sauce. They'd use like the General Tso's sauce, some cheese, some chicken, and it'd be fine. But it was like a full-on like extra cheese pizza with pizza sauce, garlic butter, all that, and then he just dumped General Tso's chicken on top of it, and it was overwhelming. It was too much, but. We've all done things, all right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, sometimes you got to leave it to the professionals. I don't claim to be a professional. I claim to be a expert in the fast food arts. But, it just depends upon what you dabble in. But anyway, moving on.
Speaking of professionals, Nebraska.
Yes.
Nebraska released this, and I'm telling you, I'm high on Nebraska. First of all, I'm a really big Matt Rule fan. I think I've said before that I know Matt Rule a little bit, and I've met him several times.
Dad, you want me to tell you something?
Okay, hold on one second. Sorry, guys.
Gotcha.
I said yes.
Oh, guys. Anyways. They're concerned I didn't feed the dog. I fed the dog, everybody. But anyways, Nebraska professionals, they clearly I got this chaos going on.
Well, I mean, are you taking them down to Springfield, Ohio?
No, I am definitely not. They're eating the cats and dogs there, bro. You gotta watch out.
I heard there's a big bus going. I heard there's a big bus going over to Athens because they heard there's bobcats over there.
Hey, good. But anyways, Nebraska, back to the topic. God, if they interrupt me again. They opened a new, what was it? Hold on, let me pull up the thing here.
Yeah, I got it right here. $165 million new facility. And when you sent this, I watched the walkthrough video.
Dude, it's insane.
I seen Georgia's facility and Nebraska's facility, even though it's like the only thing in the state because Nebraska doesn't have anything outside the College World Series and Creighton basketball. And
it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It's every bit as big or as good as the Georgia facility. every
Oh,
bit.
for sure. I think it's probably the best facility in America at this point. I mean, obviously, this is how this goes, right? Georgia opens one a couple years ago. Somebody else opens one in a few years that's a little bit better or just as good. But what this tells me, and like I said, I'm real high on Nebraska. I think Nebraska has the support of the fans. It has the fan base. It doesn't have quite the money, but their fans and their money goes 100% to football. Like, they don't give a shit about anything else.
Yes.
Like, basketball, all these other sports can just kick rocks, go suck. I don't care. We want Nebraska football to be good. And they have the right guy in the right position right now. And I promise you, and I know it might be biased because I know, but Matt Rule is absolutely one of the perfect coaches for this specific position, just because of who he is and how he coaches and how he handles himself. And they're going to get behind him. And he's already doing well. I know he had that kind of rough loss, not rough, but just kind of disappointing loss to Illinois. But I think they get back this week.
Yeah, I think they do get back this week. I don't see how it falls off the rails at all.
No, he's doing great. And I mean, Dylan Raiola was a huge stepping stone for them. And I know there's a lot of people that were down on Dylan Raiola or had a lot to say about him because of his recruitment and how he just, flipped around and he went to like 4 different high schools in 4 years and all this. I think he's good where he's at. As long as they can keep the NIL package in place to keep him there, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback for them. And I honestly think Nebraska is going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the Big Ten for the next couple of years, at least.
Yeah, I think Nebraska is a top 4 team in the Big Ten. I don't see how they fall out of cachet, as some people would say. I don't think that. I think, and we'll get to the. We're gonna get to the group of 5 real quick here, but the last thing I have on this topic is watch the Penn State and how they handle. If they decide to move on from James Franklin, the next hire is because they're one bad hire away from being Florida.
Yeah. And the problem is they don't have Florida's resources and talent. So they're one bad hire away from being a really, really bad Florida.
Yeah, and after the show, we'll have a conversation about the old Gators.
Yeah, but in the final news before we get to the Group of 5 Friday, which is, what we're here for. But as always, we like to start off with social media stuff and just what's been going on. And obviously, we went live Wednesday night, talked about Notre Dame's last game, and then Thursday morning we went live after the Deuce Night flip. And so it's still pertinent. Deuce Knight obviously flipped his commitment to Auburn, and then not even maybe 24 hours later, this happened. And Daniel Anderson, 2025, he was only a 3-star recruit, so I don't want to overblow it thinking that this is some like 5-star kid that decommitted. But he was, as we talked about Thursday, they don't have a lot of top-tier recruits on offense. They have actually 0 of that aren't offensive linemen. This guy was a top 500 running back or top 500 player in the country, a 3-star running back, and he's been committed for a while. Deuce Knight flips, and 24 hours later he decommits. And I warned Notre Dame fans in the spring when they had the number 1 recruiting class. I said, people are going to leave this recruiting class. The big thing you can't let happen is let the cornerstones of the recruiting class leave so that other kids that wouldn't have left leave with them. And that's what's happening right here. And I hope this is the only one. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. There's a quiet, like I said, that the word around the campfire is that the money is funny up in South Bend. Domers. We talked about the rally thing at nauseum on Thursday morning. There is if there's no NIL issues, then why are kids deserting the program?
And I wouldn't necessarily say this one's an NIL issue because I don't know how much NIL a 3-star barely top 500 kid is getting. But
yeah,
I think this is maybe a relationship issue where he really wanted to play with Deuce Knight. Deuce Knight flipped. Now he's not flipping to Auburn because I'm sure Auburn doesn't want him. But he probably was like part of his commitment to Notre Dame was contingent on his relationship with Deuce Knight. And so Deuce Knight leaves. Well, now I'm not 100% sure I want to go to Notre Dame, on top of the fact that the offense has looked like dog shit all year. And I'm a 3-star running back, and the only room on the offense with a bunch of talent stacking is running back. So it's going to be hard for me to see the field anyways. I don't know. It just seems like a good opportunity for me to get the hell out of here.
Well, you got the certainty here when it comes to this kid, making a decision. He made a decision on what he thought best was for what was best for him and his family, and the remedial people out there, as I will call them, it's just unbelievable that they cannot get it together to have a decent, the kid didn't choose your school. It's like whenever you walk into the store, there's not like a group of people from Kraft and the other from Velveeta, and they're like heckling you when you're walking out of the store because you chose Kraft singles instead of Velveeta,
Hey, that's an idea now.
I'm just saying.
Public shaming?
Yeah.
I might pitch that to some companies here soon.
Yeah,
guys, you just need to put people at the stores, and like you see somebody checking out with Kraft instead of Velveeta, and you're like, "Oh my god, what a loser! I hope that makes you sick."
Yeah, it's just that's it's like what are we doing here? And then we had the people that were wishing Deuce Knight. Hopefully
we talked about that Thursday. That there's no place for that in sports. There's no place for that anywhere. If you wish somebody injury, I hope whatever you wish happens to them happens to you because you aren't an athlete, so you won't be able to recover.
Yeah. So,
but anyways, let's get into it, baby. It's Group of 5 Friday.
Yeah,
it's here.
We got some Group of 5 action kicking off right now. We'll just hop right into it. The Fighting Rich Rodriguez, the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, I believe, and Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State, the darling of college football 25 because they were in the game.
Yeah, because they were ranked the worst team in college football 25. They're the newest, I believe, one of the newest programs to college.
Yeah, they are.
So,
and I will say, just so everybody knows, I have won 2 national titles with Kennesaw State so far.
We've got.
That's a joke. I haven't even played the game, but
yeah.
but no, Jacksonville State is going out there. I mean, I don't know a lot about either team. I know Jacksonville State has a head coach that I believe is a decent head coach. So I'm not surprised they're up 21-10 right now.
The transition for Kennesaw State's in Georgia, for the people wondering, I believe it's around Atlanta, and Jacksonville State is in
Alabama.
In Alabama.
Yeah.
So,
which is super confusing because you assume it's in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Jacksonville. But yeah, it's in Alabama because isn't Jacksonville State, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Jacksonville State where Cam Newton went?
No, he went to Blinn Community College.
You're right. Somebody went to Jacksonville State, but I don't remember.
Because when Cam got kicked out of Florida for allegedly stealing a laptop, he went to Blinn.
Steal it. He just bought a stolen laptop. All right.
Okay. But when it comes to this matchup tonight, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State is a Jacksonville State, I believe, has been in FBS for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, they've been up for a few years.
And, they're trying to find their way. Kennesaw State's really, really new to the process, even though they've been playing FCS. But, when you get that bump up, I think it's good for them to have a showcase game for both programs. And Kennesaw State.
When you look at the game, the way it's going is kind of, again, like I said, I don't follow these teams closely. Before the show, I research them a little bit just to see kind of what it's going exactly how you would have expected. Like Jacksonville State's able to move the ball. They have 230 yards total offense so far at almost the end of the first half. Kennesaw State has 78 yards. So it's going the way you thought it would go. I'm not surprised at all. But it's, I would have loved to see Kennesaw State pull out like an upset. I just want them to get a little momentum, like a little. And Appalachian State wasn't FBS at the time, so but get one of those. And you don't have to beat a Michigan, but get a win, get something to get some momentum in the program. Because I don't know what their schedule looks like. I can pull it up, but I'm assuming their schedule is not very favorable to them, and they very well could go the season completely defeated.
Well, I think they'll eke out 1 or 2, maybe.
I hope so.
But that's just every program except James Madison with Kurt Signetti had these growing pain issues because they were ready for a major bowl game. The first or second year that they were elevated to FBS. Kennesaw State's got left is Middle Tennessee, Liberty, Western Kentucky, UTEP, Sam Houston, FIU, Louisiana Tech.
It's not a gauntlet, but it's not great for them.
No, especially when you're having issues moving the football. But I think that you've got they just got to get a, how do I want to say, like a foundation starting to recruit Division I players at that level. So I believe it'll elevate, their competition will get elevated and they'll be more competitive going forward. They have a higher division of football that they can sell now. As far as Jacksonville State, they've got a long-standing tradition, just like Kennesaw State. They're playing a pretty decent winning brand of football, and nobody's really expecting them to do much as far as being like major contenders. I wouldn't say that. I think Rich Rodriguez was one of the most innovative offensive-minded coaches. Him and Randy Walker come to mind when Randy Walker.
Yep.
Oh, what? I'm trying to think of it now. Mike Leach with the air raid.
Yeah.
All those guys were around that time, and I just think Rich Rod was like 15, 20 years ahead of where he was supposed to be, because in this day and age of college football, for as much as the RPO and all of that stuff is being prevalently used, I think it's a huge. He was at a huge disadvantage whenever he went to the University of Michigan. So that's where I'm at on that, and I think you can see whenever you watch the game, you have two different levels of football as far as when it comes to Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. Do you got anything to add on to Jacksonville State, Carter?
No, but I do have the only thing I'll say is I have heard rumblings that Rich Rod could be out of there soon.
Oh, you think
I've heard he's had some interest from other programs, specifically one that he was at previously.
you think he could go back to West Virginia?
I think so, and I think that would be a great thing for him.
I think it would come full circle. What 20 years later? That would be. I mean, it would be cool. I think that Rich Rod being there for what he's done at Jacksonville State. Rich Rod's a proven head football coach. He took over, I believe, Michigan. He tried to do something that he was 15 years ahead of his time to at Michigan, and then he took over Arizona at the time, which, dude, no short story. Arizona was a dumpster fire, and I don't believe they've still fixed that $200 million hole in their budget. So if you're at Arizona, good luck. That's all I'm saying. So
yeah, I'm with you on that.
Moving on. Let's go to oh boy, Army and Tulsa. The Tulsa Golden Hurricane and the Army Black Knights are going to be squaring off this week, and Army's coming into this undefeated, and we have I believe we have a bit of a quandary on our hands as far as where Army and Navy fit into this whole this whole grand scheme of things for the for the American.
I am so sorry. Hold on one second.
You got you. Yeah, and the American Army Navy both undefeated. It's gonna be an interesting fight going forward onto the on and into Saturday and throughout the season when it comes to the American, because you have quite a few formidable opponents in the American. You have Navy taking on Air Force, in which we'll get into that a little bit later, and then you have Tulane taking on UAB. This Army Tulsa game.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
All good, because whenever you roll over to the conference standings, Army's 3-0, Navy's 3-0, and everybody else that has a win that only has one win is Charlotte and Tulane, and everybody else has a loss. I think in the American, you've got, there's a clear talent gap between Army, Navy, Tulane, and I don't know who would have ever thought that we'd ever be talking that Army, Navy, Tulane would all have a huge talent gap over the likes of East Carolina, Memphis. Memphis has a huge win. They beat FSU.
Well, everybody beats FSU, but
at this point, Florida State not looking so hot.
Yes,
and also they have the Biff Pierogi at Charlotte, which I don't dislike Charlotte. Mr. Pierogi, the prep coach turned off the field analyst to head football coach in college football. That's a crazy rise, in my opinion.
It is.
So we'll get into the next matchup. Boise State, Utah Utah State is an interesting matchup because I think Boise rolls here. To be honest,
I did too.
I
did too. It's just interesting because I think Utah State normally plays teams close. I mean, I know they're not as good as they have been in the past, but Boise State has an absolute dude at running back. I mean, Ashton Genty is absolutely him. So I agree. I think Boise State wins this one, probably covers the 27.5 even.
Yeah, as long as they don't play with their food. Do you Would you say he's your front runner for Heisman?
No.
Who's your front runner for Heisman? Just real quick.
Front runner for Heisman right now. I'll tell you what, and I've been anti this program the whole time. All right, Carson, relax. Okay. My front runner for Heisman right now is probably Travis Hunter.
What?
Yep. I think if Colorado gets to like 8 wins, I think Travis Hunter is very real in the conversation.
Even if Jalen Milroe wins a national championship without Nick Saban?
That's not going to happen, but yeah.
I don't know. Or
I think Milroe has a chance. I'd have to look at the odds. I haven't looked at them in a few weeks, but I think Travis Hunter is the best player in college football right now, just based off what he's doing, because it's something we haven't really ever seen done. Like, even when Charles Woodson won the Heisman playing both ways, he didn't really play offense that much.
Right.
But I do agree that I think Jalen Milroe, you can make an argument for Nico in Tennessee if he was able to run the table. The problem is that the Heisman Trophy is going to be given out before the national champion's crowned. So
yeah, that's the only problem. Yeah, that's just something that we got rolling. And let's go to another. Let's roll to the Fun Belt. James Madison taking on Louisiana Monroe. The Bulldogs here are getting 16.5 points. They are big favorites to beat the Warhawks. So James Madison going on the road here. The Dukes.
Yep.
This is pretty much the Sun Belt, pretty much opening up conference play. James Madison comes in 4-0. Louisiana Monroe won their opening conference game. But James Madison has been putting up some crooked numbers. They had 1 week where they were looking pedestrian as far as they had a scare against Garner and Webb, but they hung 70 on UNC, and then they put 63 on Ball State. So Ball State's a MAC school, and they're normally pretty solid. So I think James Madison is I think we should get a pool together and add these teams to the potential group of 5 playoff pool that could be the highest ranked. I would definitely put James Madison, UNLV, and I think another team that nobody's talking about that could make that push is Tulane, but we'll talk about them in a second.
I agree completely. I think ultimately, I think James Madison, I mean, they have too much firepower. I mean, they being able to put 70 up on a Power 4 school, regardless of who it is just that shows me a little something.
And a fun fact, we were talking about impactful coaching hires at the in the off season. 17-point dog Houston is up 14-0 on TCU.
Yeah.
So
hey, there we go.
Willie Fritz may be a little gray on top, but he's putting up a crooked number right now. So and let's get to the topic du jour. We'll spend the last 10 minutes on this.
Mm-hmm.
The Fighting Jon Sumralls, the Tulane Green Wave. That's why I got the green on. I believe Tulane has had the hardest non-conference schedule. They took on Tulane's schedule that they had. They took on they went on the road at Oklahoma, and then they had Kansas State on the ropes. So
Tulane's had a tough run of it just based off who they had to play, but I think they're a pretty solid team. Jon Sumrall is doing a really great job down there. lost.
And
I mean, they got kind of handled by Oklahoma. I mean, they only lost by 15, but everybody else they've handled completely. They struggled a little bit against the old Raging Cajuns in Louisiana, but other than that, I mean, I like Tulane in this game.
Well, when it comes to the Raging Cajuns, they're going to definitely compete for the Sun Belt Conference Championship as far as that goes, Carter. And then Tulane just put it to. I remember I was watching that game on Multiview in against South Florida, and they just put it on them.
They really did. I mean, they've played 5 games. And their quarterback Mensa has almost 1,200 yards. I mean, he's putting up numbers. Their leading rusher has almost 500. So they're moving the ball now, and their offense is real good.
They're doing. I think Tulane could be one of the. I think they could emerge from the. That they could emerge from the group of 5 to take that highest ranked spot if somebody falters.
It's going to be tough with them with 2 losses, just because I think there's going to be a group of 5 teams that maybe go undefeated or have 1 loss. But I mean, their 2 losses are 2 of the best losses that you could have as a group of 5 team. I mean, Oklahoma and Kansas State are both legitimate contenders in their conference. I mean, Oklahoma maybe not so much in the SEC, but
well, you have Tulane in all of in all the quote unquote glory, but they're I mean, 2 out of their 4 non-conference games are Oklahoma or not Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma and Kansas State. So those are two ranked teams. Those are
absolutely
two teams that could push for the playoff, and it might even help them out if let's say Kansas State wins. Let's say Kansas State wins the Big 12. I mean that they lost to a Big 12 champion by 1 score. So I think if the committee does anything, taking the resume into consideration for Tulane is more than anything.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's possible. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. I think there could be a max score that gets that group of 5 nod.
You think Toledo or somebody in that realm could try to?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Let me pull up. I forget who it was. Let me look at it real quick. Obviously, Northern Illinois had a good chance when they beat Notre Dame, and then they kind of fell off a cliff. Yeah, well, I really thought Bowling Green would be better after how they played the first 2 weeks. So now I guess it was probably not one. I mean, maybe Toledo if they run the table and go 11-1. But that group of 5 is going to be so weird because
it's going to be, to me, it's going to be what is the committee going to value more because it says highest ranked. Well, what do you value more, quality opponents opposed to wins or just flat out wins? Because, you could be like, let's just say Pate State it plays in the MAC and schedule 2 FCS teams, but they go undefeated. Do you put them in over?
No, I don't think so. But I think if you're looking at like if you look at Northern Illinois, like if Northern Illinois didn't kind of fall off a cliff like they did, let me pull up their schedule. So I'll tell you. I mean, if you look at Northern Illinois, when they were 2-0, they beat Western Illinois and Notre Dame. If they beat Buffalo, which they lost in overtime, so that's an overtime loss. It's not terrible. Then they lost to NC State, another Power 5 school. NC State's garbage, but in terms of group of 5, it's not terrible. if they were to run the table the rest of the way, beat Massachusetts, Bowling Green, Toledo, Ball State, Western Michigan, Akron, Miami, Central Michigan, win the MAC. 11-2 Northern Illinois with a win over, at the time, number 5 Notre Dame, who probably will end up being at least a top 20 opponent, maybe a top 15 if they run the table, a top 10 opponent. How do you keep out a 10-2 Northern Illinois who has a win over another playoff school potentially, or a fringe playoff school?
Yeah, and then you have, but let me pull this.
And then you have Tulane, who has they have 2 losses to Oklahoma and Kansas State, who's probably only one of them is playoff schools, but they're both losses, so you don't have a win over a potential playoff school. But you have 2 quality losses, whereas Northern Illinois has, I mean, North Carolina State's not a quality loss, I guess, but in the terms of Group of 5, I think it is. And then an overtime loss to Buffalo. Right.
And then, I look at with UNLV, they got Boise State coming up in a few weeks, so we'll know how good UNLV. That is if they survive tonight, because they have Syracuse Orange and Kyle McCord on the road. So and also
the Maserati McCord.
Yes. So we have that matchup to keep an eye on as far as Group of 5. And then another matchup I'd like to turn the eyes to that I had added was Navy Air Force. Navy is undefeated. Air Force, I believe that is at Fort Collins. And the one thing, not to hop back on the Louisiana, or not Louisiana, Monroe, on the Tulane thing. Tulane has already beat the Ragin' Cajun this year, that could possibly win the Sun Belt if something happens to James Madison. So let's keep that in mind, because they might play for a Sun Belt championship too.
Yeah. And so I guess at that point you have to quantify what's a better championship, the Sun Belt or the
American.
MAC? Or the American. Yeah, like all of them. Like, because if Northern Illinois runs the table, they're probably going to be the MAC champions. If Tulane runs the table, they'll probably be the Sun Belt champions, and so on and so forth.
American.
Oh, American. And then the Sun Belt
could be either James Madison or Louisiana Lafayette.
So yeah, if James Madison's undefeated and wins the Sun Belt, I think they're the Group of 5 team, right? I think that's just.
Yeah, but I think they take the highest rank.
But with a 70-point performance against a Power 5 school, it would be tough if James Madison would do what UCF did, and they would claim a national title.
Yeah, well, I think Tulane has the best path, because they can play probably a ranked Navy team by all accounts. But Navy's got to win this weekend, and they are on the road in Colorado Springs at Air Force. So we shall see. And then Kennesaw State just blocked a kick going into halftime.
Ooh.
And they are juiced.
Good. Get juiced up.
And Rich Rod is
how's he doing?
He took the headset off and had a sheet over his mouth saying some things as Kennesaw State. Yeah, he was saying words that since we have a little one, we're not going to repeat. TCU
watch this. Earmuffs. Fuck, cock, balls.
But TCU just gave up a field goal here, so
yeah, 17-0, man. Oof.
Yeah, the odds makers got that. They are on the pace of getting this one wrong, but we are bumping up on an hour. This is the first installment
Group of 5
of,
Friday.
since I thought it was right, since the conference play was kicking off. One of the last Sun Belt matches, and then we'll close it out. That I think that that is important is Louisiana Lafayette. Yo Laugh is Southern Miss. It's been tough times down there at Southern Miss. I think that Southern Miss needs a win, or it could be curtains down there. So
yeah, I agree. I think, and Southern Miss, man, I remember it wasn't too long ago that Southern Miss was actually a good program. Like they were beating some good schools, doing some good things, and they really just fell off. So yeah, I think this is a big game for them. I don't know what the spread is, but I don't think they win.
I can tell you, Louisiana Lafayette getting, as some people would say, Lafayette, or Lafayette, as I say, is getting 17 points.
They're getting 17?
Or they're 17-point favorite, sorry. So they're 17
I was like,
point
goddamn, hammer that.
So
yeah, so it's not looking good for the boys of Southern Mississippi.
Yes, the Golden Eagles not so much, but I think
is that where? Hold on, I believe there's a Hall of Fame quarterback that went to.
Yes, Mr. Favre. Yes,
Mr. Favre.
Yes, Mr. Favre.
I wonder, did they teach a class on how to steal from welfare there, or did he learn that on his own?
Allegedly.
I'm bugging you. I don't care.
But yeah, it's one of those things, and I think that job has gotten incredibly harder than what people want to admit at Southern Miss. So at this point,
Carson,
I guess.
Carson, can you say hi? Are you being shy? Can you say hi to Duke? Say hi, Duke.
And all right, with that being said, that rounds out the roundup for this evening. So that's Carter. I'm Andre, and everybody out there. I forgot to put it in this show. Everybody out there, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitter, come on over to Facebook and join the conversation. It is we love taking
or YouTube,
questions.
Facebook or YouTube, one of the two.
Yeah, just come on over and
and
all of our links.
Carson.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, come on over to YouTube, hit the like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications, because like I said, we're doing this. We're about to go 6-7 days a week. Who knows? It depends. But we try to stick to a schedule, but I have these little monsters running around, so who knows? But we'll go live when we go live. So hop in. It was good to have a couple people in the chat here tonight. We didn't show this one. I feel like we need to. Andre, did your soul patch fall off?
Nah, we're not going to worry about that. Number 11 there is a personal friend of mine. I know him.
Clearly.
He's
yeah,
from.
We have some fun in the chat, so go make sure you get to YouTube, because if you guys are commenting or anything on Twitter, we can't see it while we're live. Like we can see it after and respond, but on YouTube's the only way you can interact with us while we're live, and we can show it and we can interact with it and all that. So hop on over to YouTube and come hang out with us. I promise it's not always as chaotic as it was tonight for me. I got these 3 little kids that are
probably a show during the halftime in Ohio State is what you're thinking?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably during halftime of Ohio State. That's probably going to be when we go live tomorrow.
Wow.
All right.
So
All right.
I'll
go ahead and end the show now, Carter. And you got 5 minutes afterwards.
Of course, man.
And we'll tell the people everybody have a good night.
Hey, stay cool.